welcome to my video on Oligopoly. I didn't introduce myself. My name's Kumra. You already knew that. So for my Oligopoly video, I decided to do Apple. Even though it's not a Hong Kong-based company, it is a very important company in Hong Kong. It's the company where most Hong Kong users that use smartphones get their smartphones. Except for Samsung. That is like where the other 50%-ish get their smartphones. Obviously, this is approximately a duopoly. There are smaller players involved, obviously, but they're not nearly as important as these two. Multiple firms, but mostly just these two, so a duopoly. Let's go with that. Of course, there are only a few firms in the industry for smartphones because there are very high barriers to entry. Not nearly as high as Monopoly, obviously, because it's still possible to enter the industry. It's just quite difficult because of pricing and all that, and brand loyalty and stuff like that. So some of the characteristics that makes Apple an oligopolist is that it not only has very few competitors that are very big, but also it has differentiated products and engages in advertising and takes into account what the other firms in the industry are doing because they are interdependent on them. It's an interdependent market. And so when you often talk about what Apple's doing, you often talk about it in the context of, oh, what is Samsung doing? Or when Samsung's phones start blowing up, you talk about, oh, let's see how the Apple iPhone does. Because of course the actions of one company reflect or impact the actions of another company. So when we're thinking about getting a new smartphone, we often think, oh, do I want an Apple iPhone or do I want a Samsung phone? And so we think about pricing, we think about quality, we think about brand loyalty, and these are all also characteristics of oligopoly. In terms of pricing, oligopolists have a lot of control over their prices, but of course they have to take into account what the other companies are thinking, as we were talking about earlier. However, a lot of the competition of oligopolies don't happen in pricing. In fact, if oligopolies start fighting each other over pricing, it could break down into this thing called a price war, which sounds like a really cool thing, but it's really not. It's awful. This is quite profitable for both Apple and Samsung and other companies in the oligopoly, but it's not efficient, especially for consumers. Whether these companies decide to engage in overt or tacit collusion, both cases, consumers are worse off because companies are trying to maximize their profits and take as much money away from consumers as possible. However, in the end, this is an oligopoly. It's characterized by a few firms, high barriers to entry, lots of competition, often overpricing, but also in other ways. And the reason for that is because all the firms in the industry are interdependent. The actions of one impact the actions of another. Yes, so thank you for watching my video on oligopoly. If you want to see the other videos that I've made for my microecon project, you can click through. This is the playlist. You can see my perfect competition video and my Monopoly video and my monopolistic competition video. They're all in this playlist. It's a playlist. It's fun. You can click through. Okay, I sound like a child. Bye. This is Udi School.